Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Now, what really happened in this fight? More of the same stuff was happening every round, so it was almost like a rinse and repeat for every single round with some different minor details. Where you saw Tyson Fury dominate for the most part of the fight, landing jabs at will, and Deontay Wilder had some moments with that right hand, which he was very consistent with. He never really deterred off that path of the same setup with the same punch to end it, which is a linear path, throwing the jab, and then coming with the right hand. Early on, he was throwing right overhands a lot more than right straights. But after seeing some of Tyson Fury's defenses to that right hand, the most dangerous punch from Deontay Wilder by far, he started finding the timing a lot better, which you saw with the knockdowns. Now, Tyson Fury in the fight, he was landing jabs the whole time. Tyson Fury had these awkward movements, very quick, sudden movements. Nothing was constant, nothing was flowy. But his head movement, his punches, his aggression, his retraction and everything was quick with no rhythm to it, which is hard to get any punches off on him, and you saw this throughout his entire career where fighters are very hard to land these strikes on Tyson Fury because there is no pattern, there is no rhythm. But there was one pattern in this fight defensively that Deontay Wilder eventually caught on to, which is why you started to see his right hand getting more straight down the pipe as he was throwing it, because he saw the defense of Tyson Fury. And the two defenses that Tyson Fury had was, one, when Wilder would come in with the jab on that linear path and set up for the right hand, sometimes he would just move away, sometimes put his arms forward to create distance and move his head with the punch, and he had to resort to just using his natural gifts of range. There would be times where Tyson Fury would be caught in the middle of him switching his feet, which is something you never want to do in any combat sport, crossing your feet, getting yourself unbalanced. He didn't really have the opportunity to duck under the punch, and you'd be caught in the middle of it. So as he brings his right foot back to get into his stance, that momentum is already moving back. When he's moving his right foot back, his body's going to follow, and that's going to be the natural reaction. So he puts his left arm forward and turns his head with the punch as he moves away. But the defensive tactic he used for most of the fight on that right hand of Deontay Wilder is he would see the setup, he would see the extension of the stance of Deontay Wilder, and saw that Wilder was cocking back his right hand. So he would just wait for the right hand and duck under it. Sometimes he would duck right when the jab comes out and notice the right hand. Wilder was missing all of the right hands until the 9th round came, where Tyson Fury got a little bit unbalanced before the right hand came. Deontay Wilder went and threw the jab and then the right hand, and Tyson Fury was able to see the jab, see the setup, duck under the right hand, but then you see him bounce forward. He hops forward with both feet, shows that he got off balance, maybe because of that left hook of Deontay Wilder that he always follows up with. If his right hand misses, he loves to go to the left hook, which is an excellent follow-up off the right hand, which he commits a lot with. At the same time he retracts and gets back into his stance, he's also throwing out a strike. He's checking the boxes offensively and defensively when he does that. And it seemed to get Tyson Fury off balance. He sees Fury hop forward, so he puts his left hand to measure for his right hand instead of throwing a jab this time. And he started to get the timing of it. He started to get the reaction of Tyson Fury. As you notice, these punches are getting a lot more straight, and they're coming down more than they were in the first couple rounds, because he's getting used to the ducking tactic of Tyson Fury, which is mainly the thing he was doing to answer the right hand of Deontay Wilder. So even though it's the same punch he throws in every single fight, him being so consistent with it, he eventually tries to find the precision, he tries to find the right aim at the right timing for it, and he's able to get right behind the ear of Tyson Fury and knock his equilibrium off. And you can see again, he follows it up with a left hook, always following up with a left hook. And then in the 12th round, what do you see? Before the knockdown, you could see how much he's anticipating the right hand of Deontay Wilder. Right before it, a couple seconds before Wilder commits with the right hand, Tyson Fury leans forward as he usually does with the jab. When he's attacking forward, he leans on his lead foot, which helps him extend forward, but also helps him retract and pull on punches when he's moving away from the reaction of the opponent, the counter shots of the opponent. So he steps a little bit, puts a lot of weight on his front leg, and pumps out that jab, which doesn't get all the way in distance to connect. Wilder gets his hands up and tries to answer back with his own jab, and Tyson Fury is setting up a 1-2. So when he throws the jab, he throws the right hand behind it. Wilder didn't expect the right hand, he comes right into it, gets caught a little bit, grazes him, but Wilder threw the jab, and what usually happens when Wilder throws that jab as he comes in forward? He sets up the right hand, and you could see Tyson Fury anticipates it. Look at Tyson Fury's reaction after the jab of Deontay Wilder. He immediately expects the right hand to come. So what does he do? He moves back his right foot as well, and turns where the right hand would go to. So he's trying to turn with the right hand that never comes. And to be honest, I believe if Deontay Wilder went for the punch, because he kind of went to the left as he did this, which is a very rare thing. He never really moves left or right laterally at all when he's throwing punches or just moving in general. He's usually moving in a straight line. And I believe with that direction he went with, he could have landed this right hand, maybe not flush because Fury's moving back and he's moving his head with the punch, but it potentially could have landed. And I believe Wilder got some confidence from this reaction. So immediately he does it again, but this time he goes straight as he did the whole fight. Went forward, threw the jab, measured for the right hand, and he sees the reaction of Fury. So what do you see here? Deontay Wilder moves forward, and notice his feet. He moves with his right foot first, steps and pushes off with it, launching himself forward, and actually, he lands with his right foot before his lead foot lands on the ground. He's covering a lot of distance moving forward here, and there's a lot of power coming into this punch. And now look at Tyson Fury's footwork. Once Deontay Wilder moves forward and he doesn't throw a jab this time, he's deflecting the right hand of Tyson Fury, creating an opening on it, so Deontay Wilder is eliminating any defense Tyson Fury can use with his hands because his lead hand is usually low. And Fury steps back with his right foot and he leans a little bit back on what he thought was going to be a jab. And this is the mistake. I believe a lot of people miss this, but Tyson Fury actually hops backwards. He doesn't use trunk movement, he doesn't use his hips, doesn't lean, doesn't try to slip on the punch like that. He hops off the ground backwards because he kind of leaned back on his right foot. And like I will point out later, Tyson Fury moves defensively in straight lines as well. So even though Deontay Wilder moves entirely on straight lines, Fury moves defensively on straight lines. So he's trying to move back. And him hopping elevates himself. This is why you probably see Tyson Fury's head higher when he's trying to duck than he usually did it before in the fight. And this aligned Deontay Wilder's punch a lot better. His head is toward the shoulder of Wilder, and this was just a drastic split-second error from Tyson Fury. This is one of the prime examples of how this sport is a game of inches. If you mess up just slightly, just a split second, it could cost you the fight. And notice where Deontay Wilder threw the punch. Look how low he threw it. It's almost like he anticipated where Tyson Fury's head was going to move and where he needed it to land. His punch went a lot lower than he usually threw it. Wilder found the confidence, he found the timing, he found the precision finally in the fight, and this caught him clean. And what did I say about Deontay Wilder? Whenever he throws that right hand, he's following up with the left hook again, and this just put insult to injury on Tyson Fury. So even though Tyson Fury, it's hard to hit him usually because he does everything in the book. He has so many weapons, he has so many tactics, he has so many moves in a fight defensively and offensively. In this fight, he really only had two. And it was a lot easier for a guy like Wilder to eventually find the timing and find the placement for the punch. But other than that, the story of the fight were the jabs of Tyson Fury, where again, he leans forward, puts the weight on his front foot as he throws it to reach a little bit further. There were moments in the fight where Deontay Wilder's defense to it was to pull on the jabs. Very ill-advised to pull on a longer fighter's jabs, especially when they double up on them. And they could set up. Just pulling on jabs in general is not the best tactic because they don't extend forward too much. Especially knowing the guy you're fighting. If you know you're fighting Tyson Fury, who doesn't really overextend, it's very hard to catch him with some counter shot because of it, or get away from them just by pulling on him, just by leaning away from the punches. And again, he's the longer fighter, so even if you pull on the punch, now you just extend it backwards to the maximum distance before you move your feet. But moving your feet is going to be way slower than it is for Tyson Fury to move forward a little bit and throw the jab as well, and follow up with another jab. It's much better to pull on the power hand of the opponent because the power hand usually is the one that overextends. It's a power shot, you're turning your other shoulder all the way over so you get out of your stance. When you're throwing your jab, you're still in your stance kind of. So wait until they throw the power shot, they extend forward, you can counter them, you can slip on them, you can get some kind of angle on the opponent. Off a jab, it's very hard to do that. And all Tyson Fury has to do is just follow up another jab and step in and catch Deontay Wilder every time. Much better defense of the jabs would be to parry them, to eliminate them, and make the follow-up jab from Tyson Fury to be that much slower so you could kind of anticipate it a little bit more. And now we all know Tyson Fury, he's very good at moving laterally, he's very good at moving linearly, he's good at every angle, but against Deontay Wilder, his defense, for the most part, was on a linear path, which made it a lot easier for Deontay Wilder to eventually find the right hand. Now, if Tyson Fury is moving away, not just moving his head away, but move his entire body away from the right hand of Deontay Wilder, it would have been a lot safer for him to get away from these punches. Because again, Wilder moves in straight lines. If you get off the center line, usually the punch misses, but if you stay on the center line, you make it easier for him to eventually time it, eventually find any defensive flaws on that straight path that he's always on. So if you get off that straight path, it's hard for him to really connect any of these punches. So that's the thing. Tyson Fury on the offense, and just in general, he was moving in every angle. But defensively, whenever Deontay Wilder was moving forward, Tyson Fury was also moving back on that center line. So in the end, Deontay Wilder had one big offensive weapon that Tyson Fury had to worry about. And Fury developed one big defensive tactic to get away from that one big shot. And they were both moving on the same line when those two tactics are going to meet each other. For the most part, Fury had the faster reaction time, and he had the better eyes to see the right hand coming. But when so many of those right hands are coming at you, eventually one can get through. So the best thing for Tyson Fury to do was, whenever he saw Deontay Wilder move forward, he should be moving out to his right? Maybe through a jab, use his range, move out to his right, maybe duck that way, and if he ducks, he could fade out that direction and get around Deontay Wilder. A guy like Lomachenko, I know there's no heavyweight like that, but a guy with a similar footwork pattern of Lomachenko, the way he's able to get around the outside foot of the opponent whenever they have a long stance and whenever they attack in a straight line, a guy like him would always get away from this right hand every single time. Every single time, because he's always off that center line and he's moving away from the punch. And Deontay Wilder, when he throws that right hand, he extends completely forward to the point where his retraction is very slow. Gives his opponent a lot of opportunities to capitalize on it. If they get off that center line away from the punch, direction would be to your own right. And actually, there was one moment in the fight where Tyson Fury did just that. One time in the fight where he got trapped in the corner and Deontay Wilder moves forward a little bit, which gets a reaction out of Tyson Fury. He thinks something's going to happen, so then he just starts moving out to his right. Takes an L step, moves out, and this kind of disrupts the momentum, the straightforward momentum of Wilder. So he steps forward and also to his left to try to cut off Fury, and he goes and throws a left hook to intercept Fury, which he does effectively. But Fury's already away from that right hand, away from a right straight. If you look at the feet, Wilder's lead foot is almost parallel with Tyson Fury's, but Fury is in a parallel stance where Deontay Wilder is on a sideways stance. So their stance almost perpendicular to each other, but their lead feet are parallel. This is crazy. And once a left hook comes and Fury blocks it effectively, he leans back on the ropes. He can't move out that direction because that left hand of Wilder is blocking him. He braces for the right hand. He knows it's going to come, and he puts his left arm forward to create some distance, but Wilder resorts to throwing a right overhand. He can't throw a right straight and connect at all. Fury's out of range for the most part, and the punch gets blocked on the shoulder of Fury as he's extending his left arm forward. Look how much more safe he is in this position than he would have been if he was on that straight line with Wilder. And look how open Deontay Wilder gets. He can't even get back in his stance from this position. He's forced to switch his feet backwards, almost walk backwards to get back his stance. Tyson Fury could have capitalized here. He could have switched stances into the southpaw, get the outside foot advantage, land the left hand down the middle, or even a right hook over the top as Deontay Wilder's trying to get back his stance. Moving out to the right does so much against Deontay Wilder's combinations. Now let's look at some of the moments of the fight here. Now we go here toward the end of the first round and Tyson Fury is up against the corner again. And Deontay Wilder moves forward, straight line again, throws out the jab, looking for the right hand. And it is in the early rounds, so Deontay Wilder's right hand is going to come a little bit more loopy. It's not going to come down the middle where he's trying to find where Tyson Fury's head is moving. He just doesn't know Tyson Fury's defense to this punch by this time. So he goes and throws a right overhand and Tyson Fury ducks under the punch. Now usually Deontay Wilder goes for the left hook after this, but Tyson Fury moved forward on him. Wilder had no room to throw the left hook. He kind of got caught in this overextension stance. I mean, look at his stance. He's all the way leaning forward, and you could just push him back because when he threw the right overhand, his body torqued and rotated towards left a little bit. So Tyson Fury moves forward on him, looks for a low left hook, and Deontay Wilder is forced to move his right foot back. Fury's trying to look for his openings here. He's trying to look for his opportunities. He goes and throws a long left hook as Wilder is moving back. Almost lands the punch. He kind of overextends on the left hook himself, moves forward and switches stances as he does it. Wilder moves his lead foot back, and now look how close and narrow his legs got. He has no way to move anywhere from this stance. And Tyson Fury moves forward. He's trying to capitalize on the moment, and you could see he sees the opening. He has this perpendicular view on Deontay Wilder's head. Many times we've seen this, people have gotten knocked out by a power shot. So he sees the opening and he goes forward and steps on Deontay Wilder's shoe. It looks like accidental. I don't think it matters too much, but it possibly could have kept Wilder in that space a little bit longer. He possibly could have moved his head a little bit with the punch that decreased the impact of the blow. But Fury goes for a right hand over the top. But the thing is, he hits his forearm on the shoulder of Wilder before the punch gets through, which greatly decreases the impact of the punch. Still stuns Deontay Wilder, but I believe if he got his arm over the shoulder and fully connected through the jaw of Deontay Wilder, this could have been very damaging. And then we move here, and Deontay Wilder actually did something very interesting, which I wish he did more in the fight. He has Tyson Fury up against the ropes. He pressures him back a little bit. Like I said, when Deontay Wilder moves forward, Tyson Fury moves back on that straight line that Wilder is on. And this naturally will get Tyson Fury back to the ropes, because laterally he'll move when they're in a neutral position with neutral aggression, but when Wilder moves forward, Tyson Fury moves back and eventually will get to the ropes. So Wilder steps forward long, fakes like he's going to throw a jab, and what does Tyson Fury do? The jab looks like it's coming. He embraces and reacts to a potential right hand. He actually did this a couple times in the fight where Deontay Wilder never threw the right hand. Sometimes he just do a jab, and Fury would just react like there's a right hand coming, and he would try to duck under it like he usually did, which tells me it's a game plan of his, right? He evolved this approach in the gym for that right hand of Deontay Wilder, because even when it never came, he still reacted to it before it would come. So Wilder throws a left hand, fakes it, throws a right hand and fakes it, and throws a left shovel hook, which grazes Tyson Fury. Now, if he had a little bit more range backwards and a little bit better precision on the punch, I believe this could have been a devastating blow. I mean, faking the one punch that Tyson Fury is really anticipating and the biggest punch of Wilder, if he mixed it up to set up another devastating punch, there could have been a lot of things that changed in this fight, but he rarely ever went to this. And then we move here, and Tyson Fury moves forward, leans to his left a little bit, showing his right shoulder, and Wilder tries to capitalize with the left hook. It doesn't really get in the necessary distance. Even though Fury blocks the punch, it still doesn't really reach the chin of Fury. But once he throws a left hook, Wilder moves forward, and this instinctively gives the tell that he's going to throw a right hand for Fury. And Fury ducks, right, anticipating the right hand again. But you can see his eyes are always on Deontay Wilder. He sees Wilder start to cover up afterward, and now he knows it's his opportunity to attack. So he ducks and weaves to his left. He gets into the southpaw stance, throws out a flickering jab, gets Wilder's hands up, which exposes the body. So Tyson Fury goes to the body with the right hook again, finds the opening through the right guard of Deontay Wilder with the left hook. And you can see Tyson Fury moves back a little bit. Maybe he's anticipating a counter shot from Deontay Wilder. Doesn't want to be too hasty in his attacks. So he moves back and oversees the area, sees what Deontay Wilder's reactions are, and he's still covering up. Okay, I can keep attacking. Goes and throws a safe jab down the middle, flickering jab. Pushes back Deontay Wilder with the entire combination. Moves forward, gets his front leg on the inside, gets his front foot on the inside as he goes and throws a right hook. Opens up the guard a little bit of Deontay Wilder as it pulls the arm forward, and he lands a left hand down the center. As he switches stances into the orthodox stance, there's a lot of power in that left hand. And now he's setting up the right hand. Catches Deontay Wilder again down the center. And he sees Wilder get to the ropes. Now this is a very intelligent move from Tyson Fury. He lets off the combination because he knows Deontay Wilder went to the ropes. And now Wilder has nowhere else to go. Wilder moves on a straight line. He's not going to move laterally. And he knows that once Wilder gets to the ropes and he doesn't move anywhere else, he has one real option to go to. He's going to counterattack. So he lets off, he lets Wilder get some space and resets the action. And you have to talk about the precision of Tyson Fury. I mean, he lands almost every single punch in this combination he threw. His eyes are very sharp, always looking at Deontay Wilder, expecting any outcome. And we see here Tyson Fury moves forward, he fakes the jab. He actually went for this combination before this. And this time he goes and fakes the jab before he comes in with it to get Deontay Wilder to react to it. He gets his hands up. Fury goes and throws a jab down the center and throws a right hand behind it. And Wilder, usually when he sees the jab of Tyson Fury, he's trying to counter with the left hook. But Fury entering and actually moving to his left as he does it. Again, when he's attacking, he's not moving linearly like Deontay Wilder. He's moving laterally a little bit more. So he moves to his left as well. Gets his whole body on the inside for his right hand to find a target down the center and catches Deontay Wilder clean again. And notice how Fury moves on the inside. He moves to his left, which is getting away from the left hook of Wilder. So naturally, he's seen it many, many times in the fight. Whenever he threw a jab, Wilder's reaction to it, his counter, is that left hook. So he expected it, got inside the distance, made safety a priority, as well as the left hook opens up the inside for Fury. As we all know, I always say it, The straight punches beat the looping punches almost every single time when they meet each other. Has a shorter distance to travel. It attacks on the inside, which can block the looping punch, and that's exactly what happens here. And after Tyson Fury arose from the dead, where he got knocked down, you saw something very strange happen to Wilder when Tyson Fury started taunting him. He started hitting his gloves together, he started amping himself up, he started just trying to get in Deontay Wilder's head, and Wilder just started staring at him. Earlier, he was just trying to knock out Fury after dropping him, and then all of a sudden, he's just watching Tyson Fury. The mental warfare of Fury is out of this world. After getting knocked unconscious, coming back, and then starting to taunt Wilder to get him out of his game, and now willingly to land shots on the still Wilder, it's absolutely extraordinary. He goes and lands a jab as Wilder's just watching him. He's telling Wilder to hit him on the chin. He goes and fakes on Wilder. Wilder puts his arms out and tries to throw a jab afterward, a very slow jab, as he's just watching Tyson Fury. Fury lands his own left and almost lands a right hand as well, and the movements of Wilder just seem so slow, and Wilder just resorted to covering up for most of the fight afterward. It may be just he couldn't believe what happened. He can't believe Tyson Fury's still in the fight like this. He's still in character. He's still doing his thing. He's still taunting. He's still talking trash. And he just hit him with the hardest shot he could throw at him. In one of the moments, Tyson Fury actually lands the hardest strikes on Deontay Wilder, which stun him. Wilder's going for the kill, and he goes and throws out a jab at Tyson Fury, measure for his own right hand, and Fury doesn't see the punches coming. His head's looking down, and he's not looking at Wilder, so he goes and throws a left hook himself, and he throws a short right hand down the center and catches Wilder clean on the chin. And he threw a straight shot where Wilder is throwing an overhand right, a more looping punch. Tyson Fury is able to get inside, connect first, and gets his head right under the overhand of Wilder. They both return for a left hook. This is one of the scariest exchanges you can ever have. Two guys returning off a right hand, torquing their entire body, all their power into a left hook at the same time, and they're both in distance. Wilder's precision was off. He threw a more straight of a left hook, almost looking like a straight punch, and just misses Tyson Fury. Fury's precision is just better than Deontay Wilder's in general. Goes and throws out a left hook, which stuns Wilder badly. And now the last thing to talk about in this fight is the 10 count. We're going to look at this together. We're going to see, was the count, as long as people are saying, as long as Wilder was saying, was it 15, 20 seconds long? We'll see ourselves here. Okay, so Tyson Fury is going down, and once he hits the ground, we're going to start the count from 0. The count seems fair. The camera angle doesn't show the ref get on Fury, and he didn't exactly get on top of Fury when he started counting, but he started counting when Fury hit the ground. This is something referees have been doing for a long time now. So maybe Wilder saw that the ref wasn't on Fury, and maybe started counting from 1 as soon as he got on top of him, but no, when he got on top of Fury, he started his count at 4. So the count was fair, it was a 10 count, no conspiracy, no controversy for that one. So that's the breakdown, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the podcast. It's going to come out Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe even Thursday morning. Be on the lookout for that. And my prediction video for this weekend's UFC card is also going to come out. That actually might come out before the podcast, so we'll see. It is a UFC pay-per-view card. It is a pretty good card, so I might upload that on Wednesday. Be on the lookout for all of those. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.